Okay, good afternoon. So, like Edmar was saying, so he stole my introduction, but nevertheless, I'll try to give you some insight. So basically, we're here to share with you, well, basically the implementation that we are doing at Primavera regarding Scrum, and I hope to not take too much of the time that I have and leave some time at the end for some questions, because I think that's the most important part for us to exchange some ideas and learn some things. So the agenda, it's quite quick. So just to give you a quick introduction about the company, and then a context. This is giving some feedback. Okay. Give a context on where did we start when we introduced Scrum, then a high-level plan on what we are doing, and then share some challenges that we faced, some improvements that we've seen so far, because this is a process that we are currently implementing, so it's not yet completed yet, and some lessons that we can take home. So Primavera basically is a company, a Portuguese-based company, which is focused on developing global management systems for several sectors. Recently, we had a 20th anniversary, so is a company which already has a good base. We have roughly 240 workers. We have several offices in some countries. And in 2010, Primavera did the CMMI Level 2 certification. Okay? So, the context. So basically, Primavera saw that it was very important, according to what was doing in the software industry, that we had to, define processes, okay? Define processes to guarantee that the development process, in fact, was organized, was well understood in the company, and that everyone had the necessary tools to do a good job. So those processes were based on the waterfall approach, okay? For several years, in fact, these processes were giving us the results that we wanted, right? The company itself was organized in business units, okay? So basically we had these big areas with several people, and then these people basically were focused on implementing projects. But with this approach, we started seeing some opportunities to improve, because this type of approach, what we saw close to the teams was that, in fact, people were taking quite a long time to plan a project. Okay, it was quite a lot of effort, and this is an issue because we all know, okay, and the gurus also say this, that a project never starts and ends exactly the same way. Okay, we all know that all projects always have some change during its execution. So this was an opportunity, because why are we taking quite a lot of effort in the beginning if we know that during execution things will change, right? So this was an issue. Another issue was that we had long development cycles, okay? Long development cycles, meaning that you didn't have the opportunity to understand how the project was going during its execution, right? So, like we see in waterfall, only very late in the process do we really see some product, right? And it's at this point we can actually understand if what the customer was asking for is exactly what he's receiving, okay? So this was also an important issue. And then the other thing has to do with leaders, okay? So basically, with this approach, the ownership, right, the responsibility of the development was very focused on the leaders, right? The team leaders, the managers. They were the accountable people for the development, which this, of course, it's a way of working, but we had a different thing in mind. We really wanted to pass this ownership, this accountability to the teams, okay? So, with this context, with this, this baseline, what we were looking around us, right, trying to understand what was happening, right? So what was next? We saw around us, and these basically are our normal buzzwords. We started to see what other companies were doing, right? So we have Scrum, Agile, Kanban, Extreme Programming, other things. We also noticed, and I have here. This is one of the chaos reports that was talked about in the morning, which basically follows up on the projects and how they are being successful or not. And it was interesting to see that Agile projects were in fact more successful than projects based on waterfall. So this is basically a report from 2012. And, we basically tried to grab some of these ideas with clear objectives in mind. Okay, so we basically wanted to go a step further and ensure that we were improving our time to market. Okay, because we need to be competitive. We know that the markets are very challenging, and they will continue to be challenging. So we need to work in a way that we can quickly address customer needs. And also, to try to address that issue that we were having long development cycles, we also wanted to ensure that the customer was getting more and more involved or early in the process, which this is also a key factor for success. So you can then when you reach the end of the project, we know that the customer is receiving exactly what he wants. Team empowerment, also one of the top objectives with this change, with the introduction of Scrum in our company. We wanted to basically put the focus on the teams, okay, not on management. Management will continue to exist, of course, but they are there to support the teams, to make them grow, okay? And of course, better reaction to change. So if we know beforehand, even without starting the project, that something will change, so let's build something that will help address change quicker, okay, and with less impact. So regarding the plan, what we basically did last year, we started introducing Scrum in the company. Okay, let's not forget, and I will talk a bit about this later on regarding change. We're talking about a company which was quite used to the processes that they had. Okay, processes that were working. Okay, people were used to them. There was no learning curve at this moment because the company was using them. And this was the first big challenge, right? Because we basically introduced the principles, okay? What does Scrum mean? What does Agile mean in general? And we also, at this point, we tried to pilot some teams, okay? So some of the teams basically were put on this track so they could experiment, okay? They could try out Scrum in their projects. So they could understand, well, how it works and what opportunities that Scrum can give them, okay? And of course, it was basically a year of evangelization, so passing the word, telling people that, okay, this can be an opportunity for them, okay? They should not look at it, basically look at it and try to run away, right? So the main challenges here were the culture, okay, because we're talking about a company that's, 20 years old. It's something, okay? It has a rooted culture and a mindset on how to do things, okay? And this, I would say, is the biggest challenge of all, okay? Cross-functional teams. So we had business units, okay? And then we had developers on one side, then we had testers on the other side. It was not cross-functional, okay? Of course, they all worked toward the same goal and the same objective, but in fact, they were not working as a team, okay? We also had teams with multiple projects. I think this is not new for you. In fact, this was also an issue because, in fact, we had several projects. Some of the people were working on several projects at the same time. And, of course, building an environment of trust. Okay, this is also very challenging because when we're dealing with a new methodology, right, people tend to fear it at first. Okay, it's something new, and I'm not sure if I want to go that path because I'm comfortable with what I have today. So this is also very challenging because we have to show people what they can get by going forward with this with Scrum. In 2014, in 2014, basically, after we did the initial experimentation, so pass the word, help people understand the methodology. Basically, we're currently in the process of process definition, okay? So most of our processes are already in place with the new methodology. We also went through organizational restructure, okay? This was also very challenging because we're talking about looking at the company and then setting up a new different type of teams, okay? So we took roughly 90 people, which were working under business units, and we built Scrum Teams, okay? Scrum Teams that basically are self-organizing and have all the necessary skills to deliver, okay? Previous to this, we basically had developers and testers, each one on their area, and they were contributing. Now we're talking about forget that, and they all belong to one team. Okay, they all work as a team to deliver a product. And of course, this is coaching. Okay, coaching is also very important. We should not forget that just by writing a process, just by putting it publicly, that suddenly people will start using it. Okay, we need to continuously help people understand it, help people refine it. Okay, a process is just a version. Okay, it's just we always need to start with a version. It should be continuously improved as time goes, and of course, again, and we are still in the middle of the process. We continue to have a culture shift. Okay, this is something that takes time. We should not stress ourselves and also stress the company to try to change quickly. Okay, we should give the company time to change. Okay, this is also very important because then we might get to create a risk by then reaching a point that, people think that this is not the way to go. Okay, because if you rush things, people will then blame the methodology. Okay, they think that introducing the methodology, introducing Scrum, that the problem is with Scrum. Okay, and not the way you are changing the mindset. So this is also very important to take into account. Of course, we also had some role redefinition. Okay, some people had a particular function in the team. in the company before. Now they have a different one. They need time to adapt. Okay, they need time to learn the skill set, the responsibilities that they will have with a new role. Okay, and this is very sensible because we're dealing with people. Okay, people. We know that there's always we need a special attention here to ensure that people are comfortable with the new reality, okay, and guarantee that we are also addressing their needs, okay, and taking away the discomfort. Working as a team, like I said, people were used to working in separate teams, but now they need to work as a team, okay. They need to talk a lot more. They need to create a dynamics inside the team, okay, because they will be accountable for the output of their work. And of course, team ownership. So the focus is putting the ownership on the team, okay. They are the ones that are delivering. So they should be the ones making the decisions, okay, inside the team. They know what needs to be done, okay? They need to take the necessary actions to produce a good product, okay? And they should be accountable for it, okay? Not the managers. The managers, like I said, are here to support the teams, to make them grow, to try to understand things that are not specific to a team, okay? They should ensure that the team has the necessary skill set, that are technically capable of addressing the needs, okay? They have a different focus now. So, some ways to overcome the challenges that we have been facing. One of the main ones is management sponsorship. In this part, we were in fact lucky because this was a clear objective from the company, okay? At some point, the company said, okay, let's go with it, okay? We want to be agile. We want to introduce Scrum, okay? This is very important because this then tells the rest of the company that we have support. We have management trusts on this change, okay? And then people feel a lot more comfortable with this. Evangelization. Here, one suggestion that I normally do is don't put this focused on just one person, okay? It normally doesn't work. What I normally say is when you want to introduce change in a company, try to identify key people in the company, the ones that people look after, right? People know that when they talk, they are the experts, right? They move people. So try to bring those guys into your boat, okay? Try to show them the opportunities that they will receive when they introduce this methodology. Because then you will previously you had one evangelist and then you have 10. And they will do the work for you, okay? They will help you show the importance, right? That this change can give them. So this is also something important. Coaching inside and outside the team. Okay, of course, we need to constantly check on the team, ensure that they are understanding the principles, understanding the process. But of course, we also need to look outside of the team. Okay, other areas that also interact with the team. Okay, we need to guarantee that this interaction there's a complete alignment, okay? Because we might see that, okay, the team is working great, but then when we look outside, the other stakeholders, they feel that, I don't see anything new, right? So we need to ensure that the stakeholders are also aligned with this mindset. Team empowerment. And don't get me wrong when I say suddenly new leaders are born, okay? I'm not saying that we now want to build leaders in the team which tell everyone what to do. This is not what I'm saying here. What I'm trying to say is there are certain skills of a leader that we want to expose in every person in the team, okay? Like autonomy, responsibility, okay? Problem solving. We need to pull these skills out of each and every person, because only that way we build a stronger team, okay? If we have strong individuals, then they will work better as a whole. And of course, help take away the fear of change, okay? When we introduce change in a company for the first time, well, always try to look at his face and quickly understand if he has a gun in his pocket. Because normally, people look at you with a very mad face, okay? And this is always the first impression that anyone, but it's normal. We're humans, okay? We have habits, so always try to understand what makes them discomfort, okay? Don't just jump in and say, I want to implement this because I know this is the best way to go. No, try to revert it. Try to ask people what are they feeling with the change, and then try to address those needs, because that way you bring that person onto your side, and then they become your allies. Okay, I saw this happen with several people, and this also helped evangelize the whole process. So regarding the improvements we saw so far, we didn't introduce Scrum in all the teams at the same time. Okay, of course, this was not possible. We started introducing on some teams and then started to grow. Currently, all teams are using Scrum. Some of them started recently, others already have some time. Okay, so it's normal that currently some of the teams are not yet at their peak. Okay, we know that there's always a learning curve here, and this is the difficult part to tell the management, because management, when they ask, okay, I want Scrum, but I want teams to be a lot better tomorrow, and this is not the case. Okay, what in fact happens is that teams get worse. Okay, they get worse when they start using Scrum. But it's normal, because they are starting to learn a new way of working. Okay, what we feel is that after a certain amount of time, they start to get better and better. Okay, and this is where we want to go. We have better stakeholder involvement. They start to see that okay, they see things happen more regularly. Okay, we see more transparency. Okay, they know exactly what's happening. And by having these shorter life cycles, okay, we understand what problems, what risks are happening, okay, and we can address them a lot sooner to avoid bigger impacts at the end. And finally, by having these shorter life cycles, well, we have continuous improvement, because we inspect very often throughout the execution, okay, and not only at the end. So, lessons to take home. The first one is quite important, okay. We should not be mistaken. Doing Agile is not being Agile. They are completely different things, okay. Some companies fail to change to an Agile methodology because they think by having sprint plannings, sprint retrospectives, that they suddenly are Agile. And that's not true, okay? Because if the mindset is still there, the classical way of thinking, we will not really have an Agile team. It will not happen, okay? And then the problem is then when they after some time, they feel that Scrum failed us. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back to waterfall. But it wasn't Scrum the issue. The issue was the way people were doing things. Okay, and of course, before saying no, give change a try. Okay, I always say this. We should always think of it as a positive thing. Okay, even if it doesn't make sense at first. Okay, we should give it a try, because we never know. We never know if it, in fact, will help us. And suddenly, we feel that, wow, this is something we can really use. Thanks.
I noticed that on your first slide, on your name, you had the PMP and the CSM.
Yeah.
How do you balance between traditional project management and agile management?
That's an interesting question. Normally, at first, when we don't know nothing about Agile, okay, and I've been there, okay, I've been a skeptic as well. When I started to hear about Scrum, I said, well, what is this? Agile means no plans, no dates, no costs. Whoa. And of course, I have my experience using waterfall and managing projects. But what we need to do is really, we need to understand what's behind it, the principles, okay? We need to understand, and if you look at the chaos report, it shows that, well, the classical, in specific projects, waterfall really is not the best solution, okay? Agile is. Because, for example, in the classical approach, where you think that, okay, when I have a project to implement, I should try to do everything up front, okay? I need to have a great architecture, a great design, okay? I need to spend a lot of time on it, okay? And I need to build a very detailed plan, okay? Because I believe that it will help the teams, right? If it's detailed, then the team just need to go there and pick something to do and continue. But if we look at reality, this is really not what's happening, right? We know that a plan like this, probably after 2 days, needs to change. And then we know what the effort it takes to do it. So why do it this way? And why not instead have a methodology like Scrum, which can improve our way to react, okay? So we just need to focus, and this is the shift I've already made, okay? Because, by the way, I'm not saying that Scrum is the best for everything, okay? We always need to understand that specific projects also need waterfall, okay? We just need to be open-minded. This is basically an additional tool we have, right? And basically, what we need to ensure is that, okay, so if we know all of these things happen, then let's just try to look at a project, try to understand what's essential for the team to start working. Okay, and then ensure that we have short life cycles, short cycles of product, okay, small product pieces that we can consistently show to our stakeholders, ensure their involvement, okay, ensure that they are giving us the necessary feedback to ensure that we are in the right path. We know that the path will change during the execution, okay, so once again, the classical approach will not help us because then we have a lot of effort to constantly change things. So let's just work with a small piece every step of the way, and then it's easier for us to adapt. Okay.
Thank you. I don't think we have more time for questions. I'm sorry, but because we are over schedule and 5 minutes. I'm sure Miguel will be here in the break and we'll be able to talk with you. So thank you again, Miguel, and for Primavera for sponsoring us.